Hi, this is Uncle Thor here. We're going to have a talk tonight about the Dag Rune and the reconciliation of opposites. I like that term, reconciliation of opposites, because if you look at it, the Dag Rune is one thing. It consists of two reciprocal elements. Light and darkness are the most obvious. And whether these reciprocals are starkly different or whether there's a gradual shift from one to the other back again, it's still two opposite things looking at each other. They're not conflicting with each other. They're different, but they're both part of the same thing. And I'm reminded of a Roman god by the name of Janus, the two-faced god. Now, today when we say someone is two-faced, it has a very different meaning. The role of Janus, he was two-faced because he was a guardian. He guarded both from watching what was outside the temple and watching what was inside the temple. He was looking both ways at once, looking inward and outward. That shouldn't be a surprise to you, although we look at the idea of Odin giving up his eye, and he's looking in two directions. The eye he keeps is the eye that's looking at the world and everything around him, but the other eye is down in the well, seeing what is happening inwardly in the spiritual realms. So he's seeing both the physical and the spiritual. Again, the two-faced is very different. When we say two-faced today, we mean a person who is of two different temperaments. You know, they're perfectly wonderful one day, and the next day when it suits them, they're really bastards. They're just nasty, or they're mistrustful and such. So they put on a false face of being a friend, and yet behind that, they're an enemy. They're inimical. They're selfish. The one face is contradicted by the other. But that's not what we're really dealing with today. We're dealing with opposites that we could say are joined at the middle. You know, and people say, well, okay, magnets, two different poles, they repel each other. But they're still part of the same magnet. They're two ends of the same thing. If you get into wiring, whether you've done wiring around the house or maybe you've just wired your little electric train set. Have you ever done that? Well, the thing with wiring is it's a circuit. There's a negative and a positive pole. So are they opposites? Yes, but they're both part of the same circuit. They're both reciprocals coming to the same thing. We even look at humanity as male and female. Two opposites, and yet they're both humanity. They're both human. There's just two separate poles, let us say. And again, polarity itself, the idea of this pole and that pole. You know, there's so many different ways that we can see the Dag Rune principle in the world around us. The idea of things that, though opposite, though different, are part of the same thing, and both are needed to make that same thing work. That magnet only works if it has both poles. That circuit only works if it has both the positive and negative. If you only have positive, the circuit doesn't work. The circuit fails. If you only have negative, it fails. So you need to have both. And of course, male and female, the procreation of the species on the very physical level. You need both to have that. So the Dag Rune, though it is a rune of opposites, it is a rune of opposites that are cooperating rather than clashing. There's not a real fight. And though they do seem to be extremes, in reality, that's what they need to be. You have this and you have that, but they're both on that same pole connecting them. You know, you may remember in one of my tapes, I used a paintbrush as an example of the pole. On one end you had the brush, the other end the rounded tip, explaining male and female. A female end, a male end, but it was both the same pole. Okay. And what we need to learn to do sometimes times is to appreciate the extreme ends, but learn enough about them that we can work with the gray areas in between that are going from one pole to the next, that gradual slip from one to the other, because that is a real secret to that. So many people see the world in black and white, and they lose effectiveness by not being able to deal with what's between the two. So there's a big lesson for us in the Dag Rune, the rune of reciprocals, the rune of opposites cooperating. It's quite a powerful thing, and it goes beyond just day and night. But even then you hear about something, it's as different as day and night. Maybe so, but it's still the same thing. Just something to think about for the evening. This is Uncle Thor. Have a good one. And I'm going to sign us out.